back to another episode of the Pineapple Podcast at Cherry Creek Innovation Campus. I'm one of your hosts, Morgan Dawson, and Nate unfortunately couldn't be with us today, so we have our teacher, Miss Dunleavy, filling in as our host. And today we are honored to have a very special guest who, for a while, we stalked on LinkedIn and we found some notable things to mention about our guest. He graduated from Washington State University with his Bachelor's of Arts in Hospitality Management, started his career by managing hotels by the Hilton brand for almost 13 years, came to Denver in 2013 and was the GM of Embassy Suites Denver Downtown, and in 2015 became the GM of the Hyatt Regency Aurora Denver Conference Center, then finally made his move in 2018 to the Marriott International brand with the new Gaylord Rockies Resort and Convention Center as the hotel manager, where he currently works and is one of the Hospitality and Tourism Pathway Advisory Committee members for us here at the CCIC. Please help me welcome Mr. Stephan Meier.
All right, good morning.
I got a great group after that. That's a lot.
Take a deep breath, you must be exhausted by now. All it really says that I'm awfully old already. That's what you
What made you make the move to Gaylord Rockies from your previous experience in hospitality?
It's a great question. I had been a general manager for 10 years in this industry and had the pleasure of serving both Hilton and Hyatt as the two main flags in my career. The largest hotel company publicly traded is Marriott International, has always been on my ticket. And I always thought that if you can't beat them, join them. So when Marriott started constructing the Gaylord here in Colorado, the fifth Gaylord in the country and the largest hotel construction project in the United States, at that time, it was clear for me that I absolutely wanted to join that project, and fell in love with the leadership of that brand and with the company. And fortunately enough, things worked out, and I was honored to join that soft opening team in my current capacity as hotel manager.
And so your job entails a lot of fine details because you are currently running such a big operation. Growing up, was it always your plan to be in that big role?
Yeah, it was actually something I was professed to do. And so as a young boy, I always enjoyed making food for others and being in some form or fashion in a hospitality capacity. Being kind to others and helping others has always been something that was innately natural to me. And so joined the hospitality industry as a young man and never looked back. And so it's always been, I guess, in my blood. Cesar Ritz once said, hoteliers are born, they're not made. I do believe that there's some truth to it, in that if you have the passion to serve others and you are a servant leader in your soul, then this is a great industry for anyone to go very, very far.
Can you talk to us about how COVID-19 changed the Gaylord Rockies business model? I'm sure it had a huge impact.
Yeah, you can say that twice. In fact, so much so that after our first year, which was record-setting, 2019 was our first full year of operation, and we blew every metric out of the water. And we were so successful that our owners in our first year of operation decided to build an additional 300 rooms as an annex, because we were just too busy for our own good and we needed more rooms to accommodate all these guests that were coming to Colorado to visit the Gaylord and this beautiful state. That really turned around very quickly. And then so in 2020, in March, we actually shut down our operation and closed the resort for 3 months because our occupancy had dropped because of COVID from 80% to 1% inside of 3 weeks. And so sadly, we had to furlough every one of our 1,500 employees, including of senior leadership. I was furloughed, my boss was furloughed, my boss's boss was furloughed, and pretty much the whole company went into a shutdown mode worldwide, starting in Asia, moving to Europe. And of course, we saw it coming and eventually shut down almost every hotel in the country as well for 3 months. But we reopened in June and have been climbing back out of the cellar, if you will, since then. And had a relatively strong 2020 for the second half of the year. And 2021 is now our recovery year.
You do Christmas entertainment, stuff like that, just like you did last year. Was that a big step in helping in recovery for your business model?
Yeah, to go a little deeper into your question, our business model is really, we are a convention center business. And if you look at the Gaylord, you see all these mini hotel rooms, in fact, 1,501 rooms. And you think that this is a large hotel with the convention center attached. The actual truth is it's the exact opposite. Our business model is we are a convention center operation, and we have a hotel attached to us to accommodate these large groups to stay with us, not just for a day, but actually a night and hopefully another night and another night. And so our business, the heart of our business is the convention center. And of course, because of COVID, the first thing that stopped traveling was conventioneers. And so all businesses and conventions completely ceased to exist and really haven't come back until about now. And so the second niche of our business is the transient piece and predominantly leisure transient. So this is local families that we attract in the summertime and then again in the wintertime. Predominantly because our business has one thing in common with all convention centers in the country, is that in the summertime and in December and January, convention centers are usually empty. In fact, most turn off the lights and put a sign out the door and say, come back in February. Well, we have over 1,500 employees. And so we can't just close the door just because business is slow in the summer or in December. And so over the decades, Gaylord as a brand has developed its own business model. We attract our own business by celebrating what we call Summerfest, where we cater predominantly to families and children because we've got a beautiful resort with 8 outlets and massive swimming pool operations and so much recreation activity that there is really everything in one place. And once you get there, you never really have to leave. We have a spa, we've got tennis. I mean, it's just, it's an extraordinary platform of services that the resort offers. And it's great for children and families in the summertime. And then in the winter, we create our own demand by this Christmas, by celebrating Christmas. And because our core business group really ceased entirely, we converted our resort into a family business as our own business that was still available and ready to come and see us. And so from the summer of last year up until now, that has really been our main focus, is to perfect the experience for families and children to stay with us. And we've been quite successful with that. And we were able to keep the lights on and the doors open. And we were able to bring several hundred of our employees back, not all of them. And I won't rest, and my general manager won't rest either until we have all of them back and gainfully employed. But we're making progress. And now that we are coming to the end of this COVID pandemic, and we see the end coming at us, we are starting to actually see group gradually come back. And that's something that we're very, very excited about.
That's very exciting. And I can attest to last year, I went there for my 35th birthday and went there with my family. And we were there during Christmas at Gaylord Rockies for the first year open. And what an experience. It was absolutely beautiful. I think my daughter talked about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for like 3 months afterwards. But just gorgeous pools. The food was delicious. They have the largest big screen TV, 75 feet, is that correct?
In the state, that is correct, yes. It's pretty amazing to watch a sports event in that restaurant. It's called Mountain Pass. And it is in fact one of the busiest restaurants in all of Marriott worldwide. So it's quite a wonderful venue to go and watch a tennis game or a football game or some golf. It's really great. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And actually,
Mhm.
we took a field trip to Gaylord last year, and we got flyers to apply. Two of my classmates, Devin and Jay, did. And all of December, all we heard was how great they loved working at the Gaylord because one, they love the property, and two, the energy and the massive event you guys pulled off for such a long period of time too, because that's a whole month plus planning in advance.
All of our Gaylords do the same thing. We all celebrate Christmas in the same fashion. And so we are bringing these artisans, these ice carvers out of Asia, and they're coming back again actually in the fall of this year. And we are going to be celebrating ice again in November and December of this year. And we're very excited about that. The preparations for that actually are underway right this very moment, because in our first year, we had about 250,000 visitors that came to see us in our ice exhibit, and all of the outdoor Christmas fun activities from ice skating to ice tubing, and all of that is so sensationally successful and popular that we attracted 250,000 visitors, and we expect to be even busier in this year.
That's great. And I have such a special place in my heart for Gaylord Rockies. I reached out through my coworker, Kim Reiser, who connected us initially, and asked if I could do the first teacher internship with the Gaylord Rockies brand. And I had such an incredible experience. As a teacher, I had taught ProStart, which is our culinary hospitality program, for 13 years, but I had never worked in a hotel. And so I had the opportunity working with Stephan and all of the department heads at the Gaylord Rockies over the course of, I believe it was 3 months. And there was such an incredible experience. And it's one that I talk to my students as a lodging and resort management teacher here about all the different departments and how they all work together. And it's such a beautiful operation from top to bottom. But one of the experiences that I will never forget was being a part of your new star training, which I love that you call your employees stars, because I think it's so evident in how they're treated as well. But I got to be a part of that star training at the very beginning of my internship. And I love that the head of all of the hotel, the general manager, everyone came down to celebrate the new stars and to meet them in person, which I just thought was so telling of your brand and just how much your stars mean to you, because really keeping your stars happy is your first priority. And I love that, which I think is different from other brands that are out there. So
thank you.
Really, I already have a job, but I was ready to hop on board.
You were a terrific intern, and we all appreciated how much passion you brought to the work every single day. And you were exemplary in your conduct and in your questioning, and you questioned what we do, but you also questioned how we do it, and you wanted to truly understand the reasoning behind everything we do, and you made us sometimes wonder and pause and think for a moment and try to explain the reasoning about our approach. And it's been just such a joy, and through you, we as an organization were able to get involved with CCIC, and it's been such a pleasure and a professional joy to support your organization. But yes, we call our employees stars, and there's a very simple reason behind it. We believe in what we call the service profit chain. In the end of the day, we are a for-profit business. So we're not doing this for fun. We're doing this for money. And it's a big resort, so we're talking big money. But we also understand as a business owner and as a business driver that, you see, I don't spend my time with guests anymore. I did that when I started in this industry 32 years ago. But today, if I'm lucky, I meet 1 or 2 guests per day. And I take great joy, even to this day, to try to find this one guest every day and learn his or her story. Try to find out what brings you here. Where are you from? Who's with you? What can we do to make this stay just perfect for you? And if I get the pleasure of perhaps running into that same person the next day and I remember their name it's still to this day something that reminds me of my roots of why I joined this industry and what puts juice in my tank for days and days to come. But the truth is, today I spend 99.9% of my time in boardrooms doing strategic planning meetings with my senior leaders to make sure that we're not planning today, we're planning the tomorrow. My operations teams is executing the today. And so I don't get to spend time with my guests, but my stars do. And our service profit chain that we believe in Gaylord and really in Marriott is that a satisfied star will create a satisfied guest, and a satisfied guest will create a satisfied owner. And and this goes back to the founding principles of Mr. Marriott, who founded our organization so long ago, who said, take care of your employees. They will take care of your business. And so it is in that spirit that we call our employees stars, because they truly are the center of our universe. Without them, nothing happens. It's just a building with concrete and glass and lots and lots and lots of carpet. But when you bring the right stars into the building that have passion, the passion like you've shown it to us, Audra, that's what turns the music on. That's what creates the magic. And that's when we are at our best.
I don't recommend places of employment to my students often, but due to my experience in my internship with Gaylord Rockies, I have no hesitation anytime there's opening positions at Gaylord Rockies. So with that in mind, and knowing our listeners are, everything from high school to the parents to the grandparents, are there any positions open now? What does that look like for you guys moving forward, coming out of COVID-19 land?
Yeah, actually, this is a perfect time, and I'm so glad that you asked. We just had a meeting yesterday discussing how over the next month we are going to be hiring more than 100 people. And so we are, our business is coming back rather strongly, and we anticipate that by the end of the summer we are going to be pretty much back to how things used to be. And so we have, of course, unfortunately, had to lay off and furlough many of our employees, as heartbreaking as that was. And we are hoping that most of them, if not all of them, are ultimately coming back. But the truth is, some have moved out of town, out of state. Some have had to find ways to make money elsewhere, and not everybody is going to come back. And so we are going to be in need of bringing back a lot of people to accommodate this business that comes roaring back to our industry. And so that's one thing that we're seeing. We are also gearing up for our summer period, where we have massive outdoor pool operations. So from bartenders to food runners to food servers to restaurant servers to housekeepers, front desk agents, we need so much help to accommodate this business. The other thing that I think has changed for us is we have a really unique department inside of the Gaylords that no other hotel company or brand has, and that department is called Special Events. It is a unique department that creates its own demand, and that's the department that drives our Christmas programming, it drives our summer programming. But because of our lack of group business, and us having had to completely shift our focus towards family and leisure transient, we've actually converted 2021 this year into an all-year special events programming. So what typically has been in the past only Summerfest and then Christmas is now an all-year event where we have activities all year round. We went from our Christmas celebrations to our Winterfest, which ran for 2 additional months in January and February with huge success. And we've extended our outdoor ice skating and ice tubing. We added additional features to it, like a snow merry-go-round. And it's been so successful that we've decided that we're going to repeat that next year. So that's 2022 in that first few months of the year as well. And so we are going to continue to bring Winterfest back as we are learning that our local clientele has really embraced coming to us, staying with us. Perhaps people are still a little nervous traveling out of state, but you have an opportunity instead of driving into the mountains for 3 or 4 hours. You drive 30 minutes to the Gaylord and you can ice skate and snow tube, and have all kinds of fantastic experiences with your families there. So but we also have, we go from that to Spring It On. So we're celebrating Easter upcoming now, which is a very extensive programming for us. Then we go into Pirates and Princesses in the summertime. And then from there, we directly fall into our Goblins and Giggles, which is our Thanksgiving fall celebration. And ultimately then wrap it up with Christmas. So as you can see, we have celebrations and events all year round. And for that, we are hiring dozens and dozens and dozens of people. And back to your very good question, is there something for your students and perhaps even for the parents? The answer is yes, because many of these are seasonal jobs. So these are not necessarily, we're not necessarily looking for a lifelong full year commitment. We're looking for people that want to maybe work 8, 12, 20 hours a week, maybe 30 hours a week if they want to, and perhaps they can only work 1 or 2 days a week. But we're very interested in specifically young people that are today in their late teens, to perhaps make a little bit of an income while focusing, of course, on education. And we see a lot of retirees that are taking this opportunity, and parents of students that are coming and saying, hey, my kid's working for you, but this is something that I can do as well. And so hopefully you could help us share this message, because we have such a strong bond with CCIC, and we've had such remarkable success with your students working with us. They really truly live and breathe the spirit of the pineapple, the hospitality symbol, the international sign of hospitality, as it's showing on the picture behind you. So we would love to see more of that.
Even if it's somebody who's just starting out, I know as stars, going back to what you were saying before, you care a lot about balance between personal life and work life. Is that something that you had to learn, or is that something that once you came to Marriott or specifically Gaylord Rockies that you had to prioritize the balance between those two things?
It's a wonderful question, and I'm really glad you asked, because I've got a wonderful story that I can share. Our company, Marriott International, actually decided to embrace the quality of life in a way that is fundamentally different to most other employers. As you see, most employers say they value a balance in life, but then that's where the statement typically ends, and there's not much to back that up. Marriott International has embarked on a mission to embrace the 40-hour work week for all of our employees. And so for people like me who've been in this industry for quite a few decades, that's a stark change of how things used to be. You see, we used to work 12, 14, 15 hours a day, every day. And so if you work a 60-hour work week, 70-hour work week, there isn't a whole lot of balance in life. There isn't much time you have left for your loved one or for your friends. And so as an organization, Marriott International realizes that, you see, people like me are not the future. We are not going to be in this thing forever. There's going to come a time when my wife will say, I need you to grab your hat and I need you to ride into the sunset. You can't do this forever. So while I still have a few good years left in me, eventually the people that are leading our industry today are going to retire. And we need to lean really heavily on the kids that are in your school today. And I shouldn't call them kids, they're young men and women. But the young men and women that are entering to learn and exiting your organization to lead are the future general managers and vice presidents of our company. And we know that. And we must give them a compelling reason to join the largest publicly traded hotel company in the world, which, by the way, just before we entered this COVID period, we were opening a hotel somewhere in the world every 8 hours. We were opening a new hotel 3 hotels every single day. So that's 3 new general managers we need every day. That's 3 directors of human resources, 3 directors of sales and marketing, 3 directors of housekeeping every single day. And that pipeline is coming back. So yeah, we celebrate the 40-hour work week, and we're very particular about making sure that our leaders are truly living up to that and are delivering that for themselves, but also for the people that are in their care, so that we as an organization truly have a balance in life. And I think that that's a remarkable change, and one that I'm very, very proud of, and I'm glad I have a chance to share that with your listeners.
I think that's amazing, especially shifting, focusing more on what people need to be happy outside. Because you have those days where you go to work, you're like, okay, making money, and then you go home, and some days you're so busy. If that's constant, it's going to cause issues, and especially with in recent years, mental health, especially a huge thing. So I really appreciate Marriott and everything the Gaylord does for their stars. Lastly, we have one question that we ask everybody on our podcast, and it's for the future leaders watching right now. Any advice that you would give to them, whether it's with their careers or just personal quotes, advice, anything, what would you give to them?
You know, if you don't mind, I might have 2 things that I can share. One, advice that was shared to me when I started this industry 32 years ago. I was a young 19-year-old boy, and I guess I just gave my age away. And our general manager came by my side, and I took all my courage and I asked him, how do I become a general manager? How do I become you? And he pondered for a moment and he said, you know what? That's a good question. Let me answer it this way. If you want to be a general manager, then I suggest you start to act like one and dress like one and talk like one and think like one today. Because if you do that consistently and you walk through this hotel like it's yours and you act like that, then you don't need to worry about becoming a general manager. People will make you a general manager before you know, because you already are one. You just don't have the title yet. And my late father was in the airline business, so he always regretted not knowing what to tell me and how to recommend anything. And so he said, well, you know, son, that sounds like awfully good advice. I don't know any better. I think you should consider following that advice. And I did. And it took me about 18 years. And after about 18 years, I actually became a general manager because I followed that advice. So that's one I can certainly share with your students and future leaders. And it's true for whatever you have in mind in your life, whether you want to become the principal director for CCIC, or you want to become a general manager or a president or an owner for your own company. You just have to manifest your own dreams and passion and drive it that way. And this leads me to my second advice that I can give you. If you are passionate about this industry, that's all you need. Because if you love what you do, if you truly love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And to me, I would recommend to your students to just ask themselves, are you passionate about helping others? Are you passionate about being a servant soul and taking care? Does it give you joy to take care of someone and put a smile on their face? Because if that's true and you're passionate about that, this industry will never be work for you. You will always wake up in the morning 15 minutes before your alarm goes off, and you'll be ready to go with pep in your step, and you'll be able to say, I'm ready to go because I can't believe they pay me for this. And you know, if you pick a profession, you're going to be in this job for potentially 40 some years. I've been in mine for 32, and I probably have another 15 years left in me. And so it'll be a really, really long time that you do this. You better love what you do. And when you love what you do, it's not a job. It's not work. It's a hobby. and you get paid for it. That would be my advice.
That was unbelievable advice.
That's good.
I really love the quote that your general manager told you when you were almost like my age, just a little bit older than me. And that's actually something Ms. Dunleavy tells us all the time. Dress for the job you want, not the one you have. I love that.
And that's really one of the reasons why I'm so enamored with your program. As you mentioned earlier, I have the pleasure of supporting CCIC in an advisory capacity. And I love the fact that you're looking at that dual educational system between the high schools and your organization. But I also really love as a professional industry representative, I love that you are not only looking at the academics, but you also are helping these young students to understand how to act, how to dress, to be on time, that to be early is on time. When you're on time, you're late. These are little things that someone needs to teach these young, brilliant minds, and because the industry is expecting these things, but the industry is not going to teach them. And so you don't learn these things in high school. I know that because I have high school kids in my house, and I know they don't learn these things. And I try to teach them those things as I go along. And I'm so appreciative that there is a professional organization like CCIC who actually makes a point to teach these young students some of the technical skills in life that are important to be successful when you enter a job and enter an industry. And that's the reason why Marriott International is so proud to be associated with CCIC.
The partnership that we have is beautiful, and we're excited to see where this goes long term.
They thank you for all that you do in your world and in our industry. Your work is so important and so appreciated.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for watching this episode of the Pineapple Podcast. Keep listening. I'll share with you some deals that he set up just for you guys for the Gaylord Rockies Resort. So for our listeners in this podcast, we have a special treat. You can visit any of the Gaylord restaurants, whether that be the sports bar, the Italian restaurant, or the steakhouse, through the month of March and April. And if you mention the hashtag DineLocal Facebook promotion code, you will receive 15% off of food and complimentary self-day parking. Valet parking is still extra. And if you wanted to go check out their rooms, you can go to LPR for the best deals on hotel rooms. And if you've not stayed at the Gaylord yet, you can come join the fun as Gaylord celebrates Spring It On. You can visit Marriott.com and search up the Gaylord Rockies and type LPR under the promo field. And you guys, this is such a great deal. There's so much good information in this podcast, and if you don't check this stuff out, you're passing up such an amazing time. So I'm going to leave you guys with that information. Hopefully, you go check it out. Just stay tuned for the next podcast, guys. This is amazing.